All right, so let's do a recap of over what happened. I'll jump back a little bit further for you, Jesse, and then we'll kind of go into the mess that they got themselves into currently. So what happened 2 sessions ago? You guys spoke with Erwin after having come back into town. You had a small little hiccup with Izik. Got to meet, what's his name? Burgomaster Velakovich, the mayor character of this town. His wife, Lydia. They have a son named Victor, who actually looks a lot like a younger Victor. Um, there, you got to hang out in his office a little bit. He shared a fancy cigar with Vasily that is said to have hallucinogenic properties. Had a nice little meal, bit to eat, chatted a little bit. He told you about the story of him tackling this great giant bear and choke holding it out. You were very impressed, Mud, with his story, I'm sure. But as you looked at it, you did see that it did look like it got punctured by an arrow and strangled somehow or another. Whether his story is true or not is to be told. But he guarantees that that is what it was. He's quite a huntsman, apparently. You mentioned that there is the Festival of the Blazing Sun coming up this weekend in 3 days, and with you guys bringing back the wine and saving the people, saving the vineyard, after you told him the story of that, he thinks it would be wonderful if you guys participated in the festival. Vasily had this great idea that you would all put on a show. He felt that that was absolutely phenomenal and is basically expecting you to put on a hell of a show for the Festival of the Blazing Sun. After that, he mentioned that he had some stuff to do. The whole house was filled up with these bundles of sticks, some of them being laid out and twined up and stuff to look like suns that they were mounting all around the palisades around the city to be risen and caught on fire this weekend for the festival. The people that you notice outside and stuff are not so convinced about this festival, but they have fake smiles and seem to go along with it anyway. Um, his wife, this tall, skinny, lanky woman, seemed a little bit odd to everybody. She didn't really say anything. Instead, stayed off to her room with her other women folk, and were building these sons and stuff. I think Vasily got a quick, brief look at the son, Victor, who again looked a lot like Victor, our Victor, before he disappeared into a side room. From there, you went over to Irwin, basically gave you a big plot dump of the different things that he knew. The big thing being that they are part of the Keepers of the Feather, which is a were raven guild, with the Davian Mardukov, the owner of the winery, is also the patriarch of the guild. Stefania is obviously part of it, and Erwin is his family. And they are opponents or rebels against the devil Strahd. And basically, it is their goal to somehow destroy him and bring this land of Barovia, which once was teeming and within its own prime world somewhere, back to from whence it came. Now it seems to be this weird floating island just surrounded by fog and darkness ever since Strahd came, which was about 400 years ago. Let's see. He mentioned that the winery was fueled or, well, created a long, long time ago before Strahd ever came, and it was gifted 3 gems called seed gems. These 3 gems is what gave life to the winery, even after it came into Barovia that it is now in this darkness. The winery itself still prospered. One of the gems was stolen by a hag that calls herself Mother, or Baba Lysaga. That was quite a while ago. Um, that would be 3 weeks ago that happened. Before that, another one was stolen. Nobody knows who or what took it or where it went, but it was on Irwin's watch when it was stolen. That caused a big rift in his family with his father and stuff. And he basically was left on his own will, but could tell that his father really didn't want him at the winery anymore because he lost this gem. That was the first one. The second one was taken by Baba Lysaga about 3 weeks ago. The third and final gem was taken, it would be 4 days ago, by not a current timeline, but 4 days ago by that werebear barbarian druid guy you guys killed. And they don't know where they took it, but Irwin believes they took it to a druid hill called Yester Hill, which is followed or surrounded by old druid cairns. It has a Stonehenge in the center, and it is looked over by a blighted tree that bleeds. He believes that there is a relic called the, where is it? Erwin believes there's a relic known as the Holy Symbol of Ravenkind. It was taken by Strahd a long time ago and buried within the roots so that no mortal could ever reach it. But it's imperative that Erwin can get this symbol, for he believes it holds a secret or a way to help destroy the devil. I think that's all the main important touches he did, but if anything comes up, I'll just remind you guys of it. And there seems to be a bit of a feud between Burgomaster Vlakovich and Mother Wachter, which is not the same mother as the hag that everybody thought at first, but she's just an old woman here in the town that seems to believe that she's the noble right to the city. Erwin mentions that she's really not any better than the Burgomaster Vlakovich. He's a fool and just rather arrogant and egotistical, whereas Mother Wachter is quite evil, tyrant, and would rule with an iron fist. Either way is really no better than the other. Last session, you guys picked up in coming into the tavern. You could see people were filtering in. You saw, let's see, Irina and Ismark the Lesser, her brother, the two people that you escorted here, come in. She looked a little shaken up. You saw Father Lucian from the church come in, followed by Burgomaster Vlakovich and Izek. Izek turned and left. Before anything really went down in here, as Father Lucian mentioned that the town's gravedigger, a young man named Milavaj, had hung himself in the bell chapel. You guys asked around a little bit, talked to Irina and Ismark. Irina mentioned that he was a little strange, but he gave her a nice little ring to wear. They're not sure exactly what it is that went on or what was happening. He normally rings the bell in the evenings. In this case, the bell didn't stop ringing. And when they checked on it, he was stripped down to just a basic loincloth with runes in strange writing covering all through his skin and on his flesh. And he was hanging by his neck from the bell tower. Father Lucian seems to believe it was a suicide of some sort. And let's see, you guys decided to check it out a little bit, headed up to there, saw that the writing was indeed on his chest. It looked to Vasily like some sort of contract had been written into his flesh. Couldn't exactly tell what it was dealing with, but it mentioned that it was going to, I didn't write it down, basically the sisters of the six, or the dead sisters of the six, would come and visit the next night. What's somewhere? Yes, the dead sisters of the six will come in the next evening, or would be summoned upon the next evening. Let's see what else. You guys headed back after getting a little bit about that. You guys tricked Izek a little and kind of worked around it. Vasily, you noticed that the floor in front of the main priest podium was smashed up and dug up. Upon asking about it, you learned that this is St. Andrew's Church, but there was actually the founder of the church was the original St. Andrew, and his bones were a blessed ground, and that is what truly protected the city from Strahd. Whatever the case is, those bones are now missing, and that whole section in front of the podium was dug up. He did a little bit of magic with Steely. You did come up with that we asked if the bones were with the Burgomaster, which it was no, but that did come up that it was still within the city limits. Being that they're not buried in the church, it is no longer holy ground, though. So they really, wherever they are, what is going on with them, it's not good. It's not really protecting anybody. Father Lucian seems quite upset about all of this. He doesn't believe that Milavaj would have done it on purpose. He thinks he was either tricked or seduced or commanded something strange, because the kid was a little odd and he had a bit of a strange fetish, but all in all, he was actually a pretty decent guy. And then we ended as you guys were poking around a little bit. You decided to stay at the tavern. You noticed some weird things going on across the street at the Burgomaster's mansion. He gave you a key to stay at the guest house if you wanted. This main house was darkened besides the main den where you saw the maid was sitting in a chair reading. But over in the guest house, you saw the Burgomaster Vlakovich, his wife Lydia, their son Victor, and another man you guys were able to find out was the coffin maker. And they looked like they were performing some sort of ritual over top of Milovage's body, as well as another woman, a younger girl, like maybe in her 30s or so, over top of her body. She too had all these scars and marks and ruins carved into her body. And I believe that is it. Anything you guys want to add?
More
We
not
saw-
got the bird.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mornak finally got his bird from Milovage.
We saw Victor inside the house smearing some type of stuff on those dead bodies. The dead body from that was hung, and then that other woman that had the same contract written on her,
Yep.
performing some ritual.
Yeah, but you know, there was, he couldn't quite tell exactly what the ritual was, but it was some sort of necromantic, either to raise them or to speak with them or something in that sense that he was performing. And it would be Victor, as in the mayor's son Victor, not your Victor.
Yeah.
And we basically just had you rest. You were in the tavern keeping the beer cold, Mud, as you rested and frost yourself up a little bit. Everybody was able to chill their mugs on you.
No, that makes sense because if I remember correctly, Mud was pretty beat up coming out of the winery.
Yep.
Yeah, we said that he was actually sitting in the corner, and frost and ice had formed over him while he was sleeping.
That makes sense.
You were chilling the wine and beer. But yeah, right at the end, they did get you, hoping that your cleric backgrounds or some things might be able to help out as they headed across the street. When we ended it with them basically looking into this guest house. So that is where we will pick it up. You all will see Burgomaster Volakovich. He stands back a little bit, overseeing this ritual or whatever it is that's going on. Almost a confused, almost a disapproving look when he looks upon his son casting this spell. Lydia stands beside him, just completely blank-faced and sort of just watching. She doesn't really look like she cares either way. Victor stands between the two bodies, so they're on his left and his right, and he's smearing this, it looks almost like a red chili type of paste or some sort of reddish paste all over their body as he chants, and you can see his hands glow with this darkish black sort of light as he rubs this over. Definitely some sort of ritual. And the coffin maker, this old grisly man, has a white beard and calloused hands, quite tanned and leathery, sits in the side, sweats you can see forming on his forehead. His hands shake a little bit. Looks completely nervous as he looks back and forth between the burgomaster, his wife, and Victor. The bodies themselves are not doing anything. They're both dead, for sure, as they lay there on the tables.
Can I try to examine? Can I hear his words at all?
No, for some reason you guys would notice you could see in there, but you cannot hear a thing. It's almost like some sort of silence barrier or something is around.
Okay.
You can try to like maybe read his lips or something if you want.
Yeah, I was just trying to see if I could come up with any, like, examine everything and just recalling my occult learnings, see if I could recognize anything that's going on.
So in that same boat, Mud coming back into his own would probably try to do the same. See if he recognizes this ritual or...
All right. Well, who wants to help who?
This seems like Vasily's situation.
All right. So why don't you give me a will challenge roll then, Mud? I'll give you a boon as well, since it's sort of on the religion side.
Now, do I get a second boon for being a religious devotee?
That's what I meant.
13.
All right. So yes, give yourself an additional boon, Vasily. Give yourself a boon for your, I know you have one of those arcanic studies of some sort.
Yeah, academic magic.
Yep. And then how about an intellect?
An intellect roll with 2 boons.
Yep.
So, okay, there's a 4 on the die, but I have a 5 on the boon, plus 3 for intellect, so that's 12.
You can't hear anything. You definitely can tell, though, Vasily, that there is a spell or something causing this silence barrier around. You don't hear his voice chanting. You can't hear the tapping of the coffin maker's boot. It's just dead silence. You don't even hear crickets or anything around you. It's just dead silence. As you watch, though, you kind of read his lips a little bit. You see this paste that he's smearing over the bodies. and you'll see the bodies give off this pale, dark, bluish glow. And it goes on for a moment. A minute passes, and another. And it's almost like you can see this form, this ghost-like apparition start to rise out of their bodies. And you can see Victor, this burgomaster's son, turn, is speaking to them. And it's definitely, he's called upon their ghosts or their souls and is questioning them.
I'll relay this to the group. It seems like they're interrogating the souls of these two. I'm Yes, I don't like this. At least we know that they're not behind it, because if they were behind it, then they probably wouldn't be questioning them. But I am curious what those souls have to say.
Perhaps I can send my mind in there and get even a glimpse of what they're thinking.
If you're able to. That sounds lovely.
I don't know if I can do it or not, but I'm going to go ahead and try and do a sense thoughts on one of the spirits.
And Mud will put his hand on that shoulder as he's preparing. Do well, and he'll give him a boon with his prayer.
Give me, it's going to be a bit harder since they're actually dead. Give me an intellect check. But add Mud's boon that he gave you to that.
Okay. $18 with the boon.
All right.
I rolled a 6 on that boon die.
Nice.
So it's quite difficult to try and read the thoughts of these spirits. You know, you're affronted with all these different visions of, I'll say maybe you target Milovage first, and you get the pictures or this images of him smashing at the ground these tiles with his shovel, digging up the bones that are underneath, buried there. And he's throwing them into this heavy burlap sack. There's writing on the side of it, but you can't quite make out what it's sort of blurry and smeared a little bit. So you can't quite figure out what the sack says. And you see it throw it over his shoulder as he heads out of this. It's dark all around. You can tell it's not the daylight darkness, but more of a middle of the night darkness. So he definitely did this recently during the night. Your guess would be just the previous night that you were at the winery would be when this happened. And then you can see this thick, gray, black fog, and it's just rolling around your feet, all around you, above you. And you can hear these moans, these pitiful sighs and crying, echoing all around you, Mornak, as if there's just thousands of spirits that are lost and unsure and confused, sad, tortured. And it takes a few minutes of this strange vision before it starts to clear up a little bit. And even though you can't hear what's going on in this room, there's sort of that sixth sense as you sort of make that connection between your mind and the spirit's essence. And it seems that Victor is questioning him about when the six will arrive. And there's this confused unsureness that you get the sense of from the spirits. And then the man asks him if the devil is going to come. And again, there's this sense of confusion and just simply not knowing. And really, the only thing you can think about is the only thing this spirit seems to be thinking about is his girlfriend buried back in the cemetery and the bird that he misses that was in his pocket. And you get that. sort of weakened connection as it finally snaps free Mornak. You can tell that they were questioning him about whatever it is that's going on. This contract or this deal that's carved into his flesh. But Milovaj, being the more simple sort, he seems to be more worried about his other priorities.
Mornak's going to try and express that to everyone in the simplest terms he can, which is really, really complex. And he's going to turn to Mud and go, Mud, friend, so much suffering in that room, beyond belief. And then he's going to reiterate what happened.
You'd be able to tell Mornak as well that, that brief connection he had, that Milovaj, or his soul or spirit or anyway, seems to be just as confused about this whole thing as everybody else, or even you are. It's as if he doesn't really know what happened or why it happened, or that sense of confusion about him as well.
So I don't know if this was brought up while I was away, but as a devotee of a chaotic god, and as a orc with my dark speech, am I able to read any of the carvings?
So yeah, it is in dark speech, and it came up. Vasily was able to read some of it as well. But the contract itself, it seems to have been signed. There's no names or anything, but it comes up that upon the next evening, that the 6 sisters will be summoned on the next evening.
All right.
Do we know who these 6 sisters are?
It doesn't ring any bell.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys haven't come across anything that mentions 6 sisters or anything of that sort.
Seeing what we're dealing with, I'm assuming that they're vampires. But I could be mistaken. They could be witches also, part of the coven of bakers. You need to find out what's going on, because we really have no idea.
Well, this saves the simplest answers to question those remaining. If we
Come
can't
again?
talk to the dead, let's talk to the priest.
Ah. As a member of the devout, you might be able to speak his language the best.
With that said, I think Mud will... We're right outside the window.
Yeah.
With that said, I think Mud will turn around and shatter the window.
Ooh, I like this.
Into the room where they are.
Yes.
After he does that, I cast, let's see, Darkling's Raiment on myself, which surrounds myself with swirling darkness. And I'm obscured in darkness, or I can read it to you if you need to know.
Basically, like, shadows you in the darkness.
Yeah, you're partially obscured by shadows when it is lit, and you're totally obscured by darkness when in shadowy areas.
Okay.
And Mud will kind of poke his upper half and enough. Everything on the table. Time to talk.
Burgomaster will jump back as this window shadows, lifting his head up to look in your direction. You can see Lydia lets out a bit of a scream. This coffin maker sort of tips over in his chair, scrambling across the floor as everybody's sort of caught off guard by this, as they're in their own little world here, basically. Victor seems to be in some sort of trance between the two of these bodies. Vasily would see the spirits and stuff just because of his check and whatnot. You guys would get the sense that he's definitely talking to the souls of these things, but you, the other three, can't actually see the souls themselves. But yeah, Victor stands between the two of these, just standing straight, his eyes rolled back a little bit, and his hands resting on the chest of each of them on either side. But he does not move or anything. He's just caught, completely in a trance at the moment. And the burgomaster will look up and, what is the meaning of this? We are trying to. It's not important. What do you want? You shouldn't be here. And you'll start marching forward. Isaac! Bring the gods.
This necromancy isn't something that I think the general townsfolk would like to see or hear about, is it?
Says, of course not, and that's why we are doing it here in the house. Says, do you think I would just brew this out in the open? We must find the bottom of this, find out what happened to these people.
Exactly.
When you said the burgomaster started stomping forward before going for Isaac, did he get within reach of the window?
No, it's a pretty big room, actually. It's about 30 feet long by 20 feet wide, kind of like a long hall or living room area. But he would be moving towards you. But he was on the far side.
If he hasn't gotten within reach, Mud will just start climbing in.
Unless you are here to help with this matter, I suggest you go back to your tavern and have a drink.
That is why we are here, in fact, to help. We wanted to find out what happened with this body, as it was unusual that the body's remains should be removed to the burgomaster's house. We wanted to make sure that you, in fact, were innocent and prove it to not only to us, but to the townspeople as well, that you weren't responsible for this horrible, vile, demonic contract scrawled on his skin.
Says we wouldn't be here if we knew what this was. Says it's much easier to come through the door. I gave you a key. You don't have to smash the windows.
It's much more fun, though.
Says if you think you can help on this, then get in here.
I start crawling in through the window as well.
I kind of see it like Mud is literally like halfway through the window, and then he makes a comment, and Mud's just like, well, shit, I'm halfway through. Do I keep going, or do I just go out and go around? Like, just that blank look on Mud's face.
Right.
I mean, sorry, that's just priceless. Right?
That is pretty much right. Mud jumped the gun and went, okay, got to continue.
How far is the door from the window?
You guys are in the front of the house, so the door is like 10 feet to your left.
So I'm going to go over to the left, and with the key that he gave us, I'm going to unlock the door.
I may have missed some things.
It's only the second window you smashed to put your head through. Seems to be a recurring motif.
It's the orcish way.
Yeah. You know what? In for penny, in for pound, I crawl in the window.
Mornak's gonna follow Vasily through the actual door.
I crawled through the window. I just went over to the door to unlock.
Victor will go through the door, not the window. No.
Burgomaster's Victor just remains completely stoic through all of this, not really moving at all as he's in his trance. I guess with you coming through the window and Vasily already in there, Vasily and Mud, give me perception checks.
Oh, perception.
That's my good stat.
14.
But not today. 6.
Yeah. So Vasily probably kind of clambers past you to get inside, Mud, as you then pull yourself through. You can see at the far end of the hall, Isaac come around the corner into this room. He has 2 guards on either side of him, but he'll stop in the doorway to look. The burgomaster, Vakar, puts his hand up for a moment just to stop Isaac as you climb in. Once you enter this room, everything outside, just is dead silence again. Even though you can hear in this room, you can't hear anything from outside. You see a wagon go past on the street, splashing through some puddles, but it makes no sound whatsoever. And the burgomaster will put his hands up, and I believe this got a little bit out of hand. I'm sorry, my friend. I did invite you here after all. You didn't need to break the window. That will be coming out of your pay for sure, Mud, but we'll discuss the terms later.
Are we getting paid?
I lean into Mud and say, "Are we getting paid?"
So once again, I may have missed a session or two. Can we hear Isaac?
You could see him and hear him as he comes around the corner.
I can
Yes.
hear him. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not, so I'll just.
With your one finger left.
Really, you just think you're Raven.
I don't know if we've made friends with him or not yet, but I still don't like him.
Oh, no,
No.
Isaac's a jerk. Yeah, the burgomaster put him. Says, I believe it was a bit of a misunderstanding, Isaac. Please keep watch out in the hallway. And if I need you, I'll call upon you. See, Isaac looks across all of you, unsnaps his axe from the side of his, sort of like strapped across his back, but he unsnaps the haft of it and pulls it free. Slams a blade down in the doorway and sort of takes up a block, just watching into the room, but the other two guards go behind him and watch the hallway. But Isaac just stands there, basically blocking your exit unless you went back outside, but blocking you from going further into this guard or this guest house. The burgomaster will. It is fine, my friends. Everything is going to be just fine. I believe this is all a bit of a misunderstanding. Well, if you think you can help us with this matter, then perhaps you should have your hand. My son, he's not quite skilled in these sort of arts, and, well, I disapprove of them myself. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do, you know? Sometimes you just need answers. I fear for my people, for this town, for the church, what happened with the bones. It's all very unfortunate, but everything will be fine. Yes. We have the festival this weekend, and the devil, he's too afraid to come here and face us.
Perhaps since we were unable to hear anything from this clever magical machinations that infest this room, we weren't able to hear what was said. Did the spirits actually say anything useful?
Well, I don't quite know. It's all a little bit jumbled. The lad, he's too simple-minded. He's more concerned about some lady friend that he met in the cemetery and the bird that is missing from his pocket. And he wonders where the ring went as well, his proposal ring, he calls it. But he does not know where he got these scars, these scratches, this writing on his skin. He says it was all just a blur, and he saw something like a man with red eyes. They came into his bedchamber. It couldn't have been the devil. I mean, he can't come here, right? And that's preposterous. Somebody tricked this young man, and well, as I said, he's quite simple. The young lady, and he'll walk over beside and stare down at her body on this table. Says, I don't recognize her. She's not from this town. She doesn't recall her name, but she says that the Sisters Six, she calls them, spawns of the night, that they will come and punish us all for our sins. And tomorrow night, in fact. I don't know exactly what that means. I don't know these Sister Six or these night spawns. But I have no worries. I have extra men on watch. They will be watching the palisades, and Isaac will be walking the streets. Perhaps you guys can work with him, protect this town a bit, just in case. I don't fear anything will happen. Preposterous. Yes, everything will be fine.
I lean into Mornak and say, Mornak, is any of that information that you gathered, would you like to add to anything that he says?
I'm saying that quietly and surreptitiously so that the burgomaster isn't hearing me.
Would you like to add anything from what you gained by ripping the thoughts from the minds of those spirits.
Mornak whispers back, let's keep that to ourselves. He doesn't need anything more than he has to know.
Yes, I love secrets.
But Mornak will take off his pack, open it up, pull out the bird, and point it and say, tell me about this. It's magic.
Are you asking the burgomaster?
He's asking the room.
Okay. Victor off to the side. You see his eyes snap open and look, and he'll slowly raises his hand out and says, my bird. Can I have my bird back, Mister? You look familiar. And he'll see Vasily. My furry friend.
So, real quick, this is Victor, the guy talking to the spirits.
Yes.
Not our Victor.
Right. This is the bird that belonged to the corpse.
Yes.
Yes.
As he hands him the bird, Mud's gonna grab his hand, and Frost is gonna go around him as he puts his other hand to his head and says, talk to them again. And basically what I'm going to do is try to get Victor to communicate with the corpse again, but with a little extra pizzazz for my prayer.
All right. Give me just a will challenge roll. I'd give it with a bane, but you got your boon from your profession.
19 on the die. And you said will?
Yeah.
19.
All right. So this frost will cover his arm a bit, and you see Burgomaster's Victor eyes snap open as he looks at you. This sort of shocked appearance on his face as he stumbles back. The body of Milovaj trembles just like a little bit on the table. And Victor will stop and look back at you. I'll answer your questions for my bird.
You can have the bird if you answer the questions.
Oh, we'll give you the bird.
Says, yes. Well, how can I help you, Mr. Elf?
And does this sound like the kid Victor, or does this sound more like...
This sounds more like Milovaj.
Okay.
Vasily,
Yes?
you've the sharpest mind among us. Ask your questions.
Oh, about the nature of the universe or anything in particular?
No, you fool!
No.
About our circumstances.
Well, I mean, you read his thoughts. What more do we need to glean from him?
Burgomaster Vlakovich is sort of just waiting. Says, well, what does it say? Come.
Well, we need to know what this ring is, because if it is in fact the ring that our dear Izik's sister has, I have a feeling that bleeding wound on her neck is not good, and that she's involved in something very sinister. As in a thrall to a vampire.
Victor's gonna chime up and say, where are the bones? Where did you put the bones?
Oh, Milovaj can't answer that. If he does, then he will be killed. I can't share that information, my friend.
You won't get the
What
bird.
if I promise to give you your ring? Ring plus your bird. You know your promise ring?
I do have a date tonight.
Yeah, and you don't want to disappoint your lady friend.
And a dead bird is always very entrancing.
And you can't go without your ring.
See this young man's body just still sterile, real rigid as Milovaj's voice comes through. I can't tell you if so. Then, well, I will never see my lady friends again. They'll cast me into the woods, and the wolves eat my body and slurp my soul. And I can't do that. I must.
What a lucky boy you are. You have a date with more than one woman?
And you'll see Victor's eyes will snap open as he's looking across the room at the coffin. Where did the coffin maker go? He's not there anymore.
Morgan, I want to try my trick with sense thoughts again. Only this time, I want to try to sense the thoughts of young Victor to try and get a better connection.
Does he answer my question about his date with more than one woman?
I'm sorry, what did you ask?
Oh, I asked him,
What a lucky boy. You have a date with more than one woman?
He'll sort of looks across the room where the coffin maker was, and then his eyes will snap back to you. See, so I have to play my cards right. And there's a many love interests for Milovaj. Yes, there's many love interests. Some a bit older than others.
Where is this rendezvous supposed to take place? We could be there and serenade. Increase your chances of having success with the ladies.
So, no, you don't want to go into the fog.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We love the fog.
No, the fog,
Yes.
it eats you alive and tries you. I can't remember. You see,
How will you go into the fog and not be eaten to meet your lady friends?
I can't answer. I can't. It's Mornak. Go ahead and. Do you want to cast that on Victor, right?
Correct.
Okay. So as you do that, you'll see Victor's body starts backing up, and it sort of puts us back up to where Milovaj's body is. And you'll see the young man's head slump forward as this connection seems to be lost for a moment. And Victor will look up. It looks like he's getting ready to say something, but he stops mid-sentence. He looks across the room at his father, Lydia, his mother, and all of you. Who are these people, Father? Why are they here? The burgomaster will confront. It's fine. These are my friends. They're going to help us. These are the ones that brought the wine, and they saved our winery. He says, it's fine, Victor. Just go ahead. Concentrate. Do it like you do before. See what these bodies have to say. See if there's anything hidden. Victor will look at the burgomaster. You see his eyes crying. He's like, I've already told you, Father. They don't have anything else. There's nothing more that I can give you. And the burgomaster comes up, just begins cursing, yelling at this young man face to face, berating him. When you cast your spell, Mornak, and you try to look into the thoughts of Victor, you just get that sense of absolute hatred that he has towards his father. And there's visions of all the things he would love to do to the burgomaster, be it flaying his skin, beheading him, torturing him in one way or another. This young man seems quite disturbed. But he never does it, because he loves his mother far, far too much. He doesn't want to hurt her. It's a connection, rather unhealthy connection, Mornak, that he has with his mother.
Mornak's going to try and get in between the two of them and is going to try and push the father away. And then he whispers to the boy, I don't like him much myself.
Burgomaster will take a step back. He's like, perhaps I was a bit too... You must understand, I'm concerned about these people. I'm worried of my town. I don't mean to burst out in anger. I'm sorry, Mornak, and I'm sorry the rest of you had to see that. Victor, you can be gone from this place. Get out of here. We don't need your services here anymore. You see the young man sort of...
And with that, like, not quite understanding, Victor, of course, our Victor, he's going to, like, turn and start walking towards the door like he's being berated. So...
I go up to the Burgomaster Victor. I stand up next to him and wrap my arm in the crook of his arm. And I say, "Dear Victor, there are a few things more that we could really glean from this person if you could compel them to speak."
And he shakes his head. He's like, "No, my friends, my father was simply speaking to me and says it's of no use. It's no use. He doesn't listen anyway.
It doesn't matter if he listens. The only listening that needs to happen is you listening to these spirits. We need more information."
Says this is just too much. I don't think I can handle this anymore. My furry friend. It's just too much for me. It's simply too much. And he'll turn, sort of walks over towards his mother, motions for her to head out with him. You get some rather very disturbing thoughts that you glean from him, Mornak, of the things his mother and him are prepared to go do. So
really?
Before your connection severs.
Did any of the rest of us notice who is now blatantly missing from the room?
Yeah, if you look around, yeah. The only one, you'll see, as long as nobody just immediately steps in his way, but Victor does, that he wants to get away from the Burgomaster, so he'll go over and sort of put his arm in the crook of his mom and help lead her out the doorway as well, passing past Izek and going further back into the building. Yeah, and then look around, it's just all of you and the Burgomaster, and he sort of looks over. Well, Izek is standing in the doorway, but not really in the room.
So
he says, "That boy, he never listens. He's always up there dinking with his spells and visiting with his mother. Who knows what they do up there all day long."
Who knows, indeed.
I believe they plot against me. I know they do. They want this town for themselves. They're not going to have it. They don't know how to rule anything.
Perhaps they might be plotting that, but that is a plot that needs to be handled another day. The plot that we need to know now is, where is this rendezvous with this woman that our dead corpse here was supposed to meet with, and where has he put the body of the saint? That is the only two conspiracies that we need answered at this particular moment.
Now there may be a third, Vasily.
Ooh.
What happened to our good friend, the coffin maker?
Ooh.
The Burgomaster looks over, expecting to see the man in the seat, but now it's just an empty chair. Probably went back to his house to drink himself into a stupor. One of the biggest drunks I ever met.
Where is his house at?
Until Mornak came along, anyway.
Mornak just bows his head. Thank you. Thank you.
Down the street. You can't miss it. The place is littered with bits of wood and, coffins.
I'll go search there. I'll go search and see if he's there. And I start skipping towards the door.
I don't think he's of importance here. We only had him here because he was snooping around the yard, trying to get into the winery in the back. I wanted to keep an eye on him. I don't think he has anything to do with this matter.
He was trying to get into the winery in the back?
Where we keep the stock of wine for the house.
Well, we should explore every avenue. I think that we should speak with this man. Perhaps he had more sinister intentions.
Maybe he wanted to poison the wine for the festival.
That or he wanted to steal it and drink it all. But...
So when Vasily actually says that, I'd like to be keeping an eye on one-armed
Izek,
yeah. see if he reacts in any way to the idea of poisoning the wine and all that. Because if I remember correctly, he insisted we bring the wine to the Burgomaster.
Yep. It did eventually go to. Oh, that happened last session too. I think, Mister. But he did deliver it to the tavern though.
Oh, okay.
He had his constables or the guards deliver it to it, but. And yeah, I mean, if you look over at Isaac, he's still standing in the door. He's watching all of this, but he hasn't made a move or done anything yet. Seems to at least be following the order of the Burgomaster to stay put. And Burgomaster shrugs and says, we will deal with this in the morning. I've had enough of this matter, and I'm sure none of you wish to sleep in here with the bodies. I have extra rooms in the house. Why don't we get a bit of rest? And
would you be willing to share the key to your back room where you keep the wine, just to see if there's something in particular that our dear friend was snooping around to see?
Isaac already checked upon it. It's all good. It's all good. You have no worries. Isaac will handle it.
I think you need a wine expert. This really isn't something that your normal connoisseur of wine can handle. You really need my specialty in this situation.
What makes you think I'm not a specialty in the wine?
Drink me under the table and we'll see which of us still stands.
Yeah.
I use my prayer on Warnock.
And if you insist of running around all night, I wouldn't put it past you to do. You're very welcome if you wish, but me, I am heading to bed.
Of course.
Without my eyes leaving Isaac, I do say to the Burgomaster, so that my understanding then is we have free reign to move about as we wish without being hampered.
He shrugs them and says, if you get out of hand, then I will have Isaac take care of it. Just watch yourselves.
Right.
Since I don't think you're going to find anything of interest or importance, nothing that hasn't come here already, I need my rest. He'll turn towards Isaac and you watch over the house. These fellows causing the ruckus, you're welcome to take care of it, Isaac.
No ruckus shall be caused. No ruckus.
Because I don't want you to scare these people. They are trying to rest, and don't be spreading rumors of the bones being stolen and the boy hanging himself. It's better if they don't know.
Of course, we don't want to speak to any of them either.
Yes, I will take your word for this. Don't cross me.
I think we should inspect that room to see what that old coffin maker was interested in there, then perhaps jaunt off towards the coffin maker's abode.
I think that's a wise choice. Mud, what do you think?
I agree. I think the coffin maker rushed out of here at an inopportune time. Might be time to pay him a visit.
And then the Burgomaster will nod. Very well. Just do as I said, and don't alert the people, don't cause a ruckus, and don't scare them. Otherwise, I will have Isaac handle all of this, and you will be cast out. I have no qualms in exiling people in a hurry if the needs come. But if indeed you're able to track down a bit, then, well, there will be benefits in it for you. I am going to bed. And he'll turn and walk out that doorway that you guys, well, a couple of you came through anyway, and across the courtyard towards his main house. You hear a heavy thud as Isaac lifts his axe and sort of props it onto his shoulder and comes in. Looks at all of you. Go ahead. Fuck up just once.
Victor's gonna wave.
Mud being petty Because he is right now with Isaac after the horse situation. Without breaking eye contact with Isaac, one will climb back out the broken window.
And he'll look and orcish scum, furry goats, pathetic elves. The only person here of any worth is you, Victor. I don't know how you walk around with these shitholes. Keep them in line.
When he says that, Victor's going to turn and just give the biggest smile, and blood is just like running down.
And he'll let you guys walk across. You can see that he comes up to the doorway. He watches all of you as you head on off to do what you're going to do. Where are you headed?
Well, I think we should check out since we're already here at the house, we should check out that wine cellar in the back that he was trying to break into, or snooping around to see if there's anything that's untoward there. And then we can head off towards...
Well, Victor's going to look for, like, tracks and, like, see how far he made it, or if it was the wine cellar that he was actually going and inspect the backyard area while the other guys look at the wine cellar.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a perception check then, and give yourself a boon for it.
That's going to be a 24.
Nice. The backyard is filled with a lot of tracks. You'll see actually some heavier, larger ones, which you probably could match up with Isaac's that seem to be stomping about for the most. That seems to be the most of the tracks. So well as several smaller ones, there's probably guards and stuff. This coffin maker had some pretty higher boots on with the heels on the back. And you'll see his as well, leading to this. It's a building that's attached to the back side of the house, almost like a back entrance of some sort. But it's low down to the ground, and the stairs go down into the ground to it, like you would have basically like a wine cellar. So it stays chilled, but it's attached to the back side of the house. But you will see both Isaac's, just common tracks that are out there. Some of the ones that are obviously Isaac's, being his size, as well as the ones that would match the shoes of the coffin maker. All of them lead to and from the wine cellar.
Can I tell which direction he came from?
The coffin maker?
Yeah.
It looks like he was indeed snooping about the winery and stuff. You can see his tracks go into it. Can't really tell which is the most fresh. They all seem rather fresh. But then you'd see him move across the courtyard to that wine cellar, from the wine cellar over to the guest house. And then you see him leave from this, well, you didn't see him leave, but you'll see tracks from the back side of the house that you're in, the guest house, out to the main road, from, you assume, from when he bailed.
Okay.
But he was definitely messing around over in the wine cellar.
Now, I'm kind of asking this to the rest of the group. Did you guys wait for Victor, or did you guys go ahead and go down to the wine cellar while Victor was snooping around outside?
No, I think I would have waited. Being I grew up as a hunter, and you started to check tracks and mentioning, if you did, mentioning both the high boots and Isaac's boots, I would definitely stick around and keep an eye on the tracks with you.
There's nothing that's stopping.
Yeah, if you were there.
Well, and more specific.
Yeah, Monarch's gonna go.
I would check to see if the tracks, how old they are, the age and all, if it matched Isaac and the coffin maker. Like they were moving together.
Oh, walking in unison? No, they would not. All the tracks look quite fresh. It's been quite drizzly, so they're still a little bit muddy and pressed down into the earth fairly deep. You can see the deeper ones from the heels of the coffin maker and Izek's larger, sort of massive boots, basically. But they're not. They don't look like they're walking together or in unison.
There's no side by side. There's
Nope.
no. Okay.
Nope.
Maybe this awful Izek isn't a bad guy.
If more than anything, you will see Izek's tracks more than anybody else's. But
Well, let's open the door to this back shed and see what nasty's in the woodshed.
I'm going to assume that you go over, Vasily, and step down this. There's 7 or 8 steps that sort of lead down into the ground a little bit to this wine cellar door. It's already open about an inch or so it's really just a matter of pushing it open. There's a sconce on the wall that gives off this orange glow. It's only a small 10-foot by 10-foot room. One wall is lined mostly with empty bottles that have been put back in place, maybe just out of nostalgia or something. You see all these different Wizard of Wines winery bottles, old labels, newer labels. All in all, there's only 7 bottles that still have any wine left in them. All are Great Mash 39. Otherwise, the room is empty, save for on the other side, opposite this wine rack. You can see just a picture on the wall that shows like a scenery of the town from above, kind of like an airplane photo, I guess, for lack of a better term, but basically looking down onto the town like a painting. But it doesn't look anything important, really.
Is that? Oh, it's good.
And then directly across from the doorway that you're standing in is another doorway that's closed.
Anybody watching as we go in? Anybody keeping an eye out for us?
You mean anybody watching you guys?
Yeah, as we start heading in, is anybody paying attention or?
No, really, you don't see the 2 guards that were in the house with Izek. They're either on the other side or still inside or something. If you look back, you can see into the guest house where Izek is. And he's basically just standing in the door. He's facing away from you guys, though, looking down the street towards the coffin maker's place and across the street towards Irwin's Tavern. Doesn't really seem to be interested in what you're doing at the moment, but, you know, he has a way of always showing up and watching you anyway.
Right.
But it seems to be following the burgomaster's orders of letting you do what you want to do at the moment.
I'm going to search around the room. Is there anything else in here?
That would be it. 7 bottles of full wine, about 30 empty bottles have been put back in place. This painting on the wall, and then the doorway across the way.
I'm going to pull on all of the bottles to see if any of them open a secret door.
Nope, you just get to pull on a lot of bottles, but none of them does anything fancy.
Warnak takes one of the full bottles, opens it up, and then says, "That was a really good idea. It was a
Of
really
course
good
it was. Of course it was. I'm going to look behind the painting.
Just a stone wall.
And I tap on the wall.
Just a solid stone wall.
During all this, I'll head to the other door.
It is locked.
What about that key? I'll hand Mud the key that he gave us. Didn't he give us a key to open stuff?
To open the guest house, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought he was going to give us a key to get into the back shed.
Your guess would be that this leads into the back side of the house. It seems like just a door that would lead into the back side of the house, basically. But it is locked at the moment. Do you try that key, Mud?
Sure, why not? Also, I look around to see if there's any of the healed tracks down in this wine room.
They are. You'll see what looks like what you sort of match up to the coffin makers. Pretty much just went in and has been messing with all the bottles. His tracks are just in front of this wine rack. You will notice 2 empty spaces on the wine rack as well. Well, 3 now, considering Mornek has a bottle in his hands. The other Izek's, though, just lead to the back door of the house. But that key does fit in the lock, and you can hear a soft click as you turn it.
And the only tracks down here besides for ours are the healed boots.
Yep, and Izek's.
I'll swing the door open if it works. Yeah.
It's just a simple stairway that leads up to the top floor, and it looks like there's another doorway at the top.
I'm going to squeeze past Mud, and I'm just so eager to see what's up there. I'm just going to start sneaking up the stairs. I'm sorry, Mud, but I just have to know.
All of Mornak's eyes roll.
And Mud's one eye rolls.
So see, as you hooves clap up these wooden steps, get about halfway up, and you can feel a bit of a warmth sort of emanating from up above. It seems like whatever room is up there has a bit of heat. And make a few more steps, you can see this soft orangish glow coming from beneath the doorway. You can smell a bit of smoke, get the sense that there's must be a fireplace or a wooden or a fireplace for warmth, like basically coming from this room. And to reach the top, again, the door is closed at the top. You can definitely see and smell a crackling fireplace on the other side.
I am still obscured by shadows that last for an hour.
Oh,
so during all those conversations, I was obscured by mist and shadow. So I'm just going to get up on the floor, lie down, and look through underneath of the door.
If you're down, you can see that it looks to be some sort of loft-like room. From what you can tell, you can see the bases of what looks to be a bed, a small chest in the side. You can't really see very much, though, just like the basic floorboards and the feet of the bed, the table, a chair. Looks like a bedroom.
Is there any movement in there?
You don't hear or see any moving about, but you can't really see the whole room itself anyway. But you don't hear any, just the crackling of the fireplace.
I'm going to sneak back down to Mud. Can I have that key back? I want to see if it opens that door up there. I just have to know what's on the other side of that door now. And clunk, 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 clunk.
Clip-clop your way back up the stairwell. This key does indeed fit in. It seems, Vasily, it's a bit more of a skeleton key. It fits a lot of the doors, even though this lock seems a little bit different. It slides in perfectly fine. You hear the click of the lock, and the door will pop open a couple inches. Swings it open.
I swing it open just a little bit and peer inside.
Dolls. This room is full of pretty little dolls with powder white skin, reddish or bright reddish hair. Some of them dressed beautifully, others plainly. Some of the dolls fill a long bookshelf. Others are arranged in neat rows on wall-mounted shelves. Others are piled atop the bed and heaping out of a wooden chest. What's odd is that all of these dolls, apart from their clothing, look the same. All of them look exactly like Irina.
I say, I go back down the stairs. All right, Mud, you can go up there.
I assume I do go back up. Yeah,
there's no one up there that I could see.
Is there other doors or?
Nope, there's no other thing I guess it would be a small door attached to the backside that leads into a bathroom chamber, and another door that leads into a closet. But otherwise, it looks almost like a upstairs apartment type thing. Looking around, you can see sitting on one of the desks is a pretty nasty looking knife dagger. You can see some large boots packed in the corner, some of Isaac's clothes hanging in the closet. But otherwise, dolls, probably at least 100, if not more, all resembling Irina. Some of them crudely made, some of them quite fancy, some porcelain, some cloth, just everywhere. Some life-sized, some not.
Some stained, some
There's a bit of a musty smell.
Mornak, could you go up there and see if there's any untoward magics? I don't want to go back up there.
Of course. He gladly goes up there and casts
Sense magic.
yeah, sense magic. I couldn't remember if it had a different name of this game.
Nope, there is really nothing up here that has any sense of magic whatsoever. Nope.
Are there the life-size ones? Are there bones inside?
Mornak's going to gather a couple of the dolls and shove a couple of them in his pack and then bring another one down and go, here, it's not so scary, Vasily.
You'll notice when you grab these dolls, every one of them has a small tag on the back that reads, "Is no fun, is no Blinsky."
Is no what? Is
no fun, is no Blinsky.
Blinsky. Oh, is that like the weird doll that we saw in that one crazy lady's house?
I believe we may have seen this a few times.
Those dolls didn't look like this one, or these ones. These all just look exactly like Irina or personifications of her.
I'm going to shout it to Mornak. Say, how old do they look? Do they look like they've been there for a long time, or like did he just recently create them? Because Irina just came into town a few days ago. Did he go on a mad doll buying spree? Or have these been here for a long time?
Mornak's going to go examine the room and see if there's any dust on any of them. Or
yeah, some of the ones up on the upper shelves and stuff look quite old. The cloth has been yellowed on them a bit. You can see the tags on the back are frayed. If you had to guess, some of them might be 10, 15 years old, all up to some that look absolutely immaculate and brand new. One still in a little wooden box that's sitting on the table.
Vasily, these are old. They're dusty.
They all
They
look
aren't
like
from a few days ago.
They all look like our dear perforated friend.
You did say there was a knife on the table, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Any chance there's any blood on that knife?
There is not. It looks quite well made. It seems to be just like a boot dagger type thing, but nothing fancy of any sort. It's not stained with blood or rust. It's kept well. It looks like it was just laid there and wasn't picked up.
Just me being me, does this look like something that Cam's character would like?
Probably. He could certainly use more daggers.
Yeah, I'll grab it.
Keep in mind, anything that we do here might be constituted as fucking up.
Is there a window? Is there a window nearby for me to stick my head through?
I'm halfway down the stairs, and I come up and say that, stick my head in, then I go back down.
There are windows on the back side that would look down into the back courtyard, and one on the side that would look down on top the guest house. You can see every now and then a shadow pass by the windows of Isaac as he's doing something inside the house.
So
seems to be almost like patrolling it, really.
Only one looks to the house, and the rest look somewhere else?
To the backyard, the back courtyard.
Backyard.
Mornak and Mud, give me perception. Victor, you're up there as well. Give me perception checks, all of you.
12.
I guess Victor's kind of creeped out by the dolls because he got a 5. Like,
a little sidetracked.
He's not paying attention to nothing.
With the dolls.
Mornak got a 10.
So you would notice it more than anybody else at first, Mud. But on the back side, where the bed is up against the wall, it would be the same wall that would connect to the main house. But you can hear sounds on the other side of this wall. Sounds occasionally like a heavy thumping sound, people talking or something going on the other side of the wall, the other side of the wall into the main house itself, like a room on the other side.
Can I listen closer and see if I can determine what room or what they're saying?
What did you get for your perception?
Not sure if you want to.
12.
And you can put your ear up to this, and it does sound. You kind of get the sense of somebody in the throes of ecstasy.
Yep.
I miss the creepy gravedigger.
So after a moment of silence, when I'm not hearing anyone say anything, I go upstairs, except I'm averting my eyes so I don't see the dolls. And I'm just gonna like try to see if there's any loose floorboards or anything in the room.
Give me a perception.
That is an 11 total.
Floor and everything's pretty solid. You will find a small box underneath the bed that would slide out. Inside is a photo, or well, what's it, like a drawing, charcoal type drawing, but very well done. It shows a young boy, a young girl that looks, well, the young lad looks a lot like Isaac, but not deformed. Looks normal. The young girl that resembles Irina, just much younger. And then two adults, apparently a father and a mother, maybe standing on either side.
Oh, so maybe this isn't this isn't his like fetish with Irina. Maybe this is his sister, because his sister went missing. Maybe she just very uncannily resembles Irina.
Other than that, there's just some coins, a few gold coins, and a small gem bracelet that's in the female gem bracelet that's in the box.
Ooh. I do skipper hands. And
They don't radiate magic or anything.
But, no, I just do. Ooh. And I reach down and I pull out the bracelet and just examine it.
Quite well made. Something that, somebody with quite a bit of money would probably wear to show off a little bling.
Well, I'm not a thief. I put it back in. I don't want anything that belongs to Isaac.
I think when Vasily says that, I'll stab the dagger back into their face and make my exit.
So there seems to be some sort of furtiveness going on here. Irina, with her perforated neck, is brought into this town where Isaac's dear sweet sister has gone missing, and she just happens to look exactly like Irina.
The timeline doesn't make sense. Some of them dolls are years old.
Yes, but perhaps she's dead, and she's been reincarnated of some sort, brought back in some way. I don't know. There's all sorts of things that could happen. Untoward things.
You will notice, the dolls look as if they were younger, so they're younger versions of Irina, right up to one that looks, like it was done yesterday, sort of thing.
So he just like made it recently. Was that the life-size one?
Sure.
I'm gonna feel it, see if there's bones inside.
Nope. You can feel something hard, but it's just wooden. Wooden framing and stuff.
Okay. Because I'm just wondering. I just want to know if they hid the body in one of these dolls.
Yeah.
The
Nope.
ruins. Okay.
Nope. They're just looks like it was framed around some sort of wooden skeleton or something.
Unless there's anything else you folk would like to see in here, I would really like to leave.
Now I'm about done in here.
And I
Where
immediately
put
go
the
down the
balls
stairs.
he took back.
I immediately go down the stairs and go outside. And it's like,
As you all, go
So
back
I'm
down
sorry,
this.
real quick, Morgan. So into the wine cellar, and then up into this room, we seen Isaac's prints
Mm-hmm.
and the heel prints
Nope, the heel prints would have stopped at the wine rack, and that's it.
at the wine rack. They never moved forward. Okay.
Yep. Otherwise, the only tracks or muddy bits of prints that you would see going up and down these stairs is Isaac's himself running around the room. Doesn't look like anybody else has come up here. Close the door behind you and head down the stairs, back through this wine cellar and into the back courtyard. Look around in the darkness and happen to, glance up Mud. You can see this soft purple light emanating from a window up above. You get the sense it would be sort of adjacent to Isaac's room. Pretty sure you can hear a little something going on up there, but otherwise don't see anything or anybody else around. You can see Isaac's shadow in the house every now and then move around, but it seems like he's sticking to watching over the bodies that are there currently. He doesn't really watching anything else or doing anything.
That purple light is very weird. Or did I not? Or did I see it?
Imagine seeing what look up at it. You guys would all notice it. It's just a soft purple light. It's not flickering or anything. Just a soft purplish glow coming from a room above.
Is there a way of getting up there to it, like climbing wise, or would it have to go through the house and get up to it?
Yeah, through the house. It's a basic. You could try to climb the walls. It doesn't look like it'd be easy. It's a pretty smooth stonemason, and there's no ladder or anything. But
and you said, "Oh, good."
I was just gonna say if that was the room where he heard the throes of passion.
Yes, it would be.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that might just be mood lighting.
I really would like to be away from this awful house. Shall we go check on our good friend, the gravedigger, or the coffin maker?
I think that's a splendid idea.
I agree, and I actually would like to try to track back his boot prints and see if there's not just the going out to the main road and down to his place, see if there's another route that the boot prints had taken.
The coffin makers?
Yes.
Nope, you would see them lead into this guest house, and the most fresh ones look like they come out the back door and out across the courtyard, out to the road as far as you follow them out to there anyway, and down the street. Like he pretty much, you can actually probably be a longer stride as well, so you'd see that he was running or, moving quick.
I kind of mentioned that to everybody. This wasn't a walk. He was moving with haste.
He had urgent business with those dolls. Or whatever he thought was in that room.
Actually, yeah, the running prints, do they look like they're going away from the house or towards the house?
That would be the coffin makers, the running prints, and they would be
Right.
leaving away from the house.
And would they be exceptionally fresh, as in within the past hour while we were...
Yes.
He's been through here before, and he was in a hurry.
Let's
Not too
hurry
long
as well.
ago.
Let's hurry as well. Lest we miss the party.
Agreed.
There's a party going on upstairs. I'm just saying.
Ah!
Wait. No.
We might need to burn that house down at some point.
No, just the doll room.
But if it spread to the rest of the house, I wouldn't object.
But yeah, so the prints that look like there was running involved look like they're fresh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He did leave here in a hurry. we should definitely go see him.
Lead on, fella, good tracker.
And I'll follow back, I'm assuming, to the coffin maker's house, but if the tracks take any deviation.
Yeah, nope, they go straight down the street. You still see the splash of the puddles that he ran through. You get the sense this is where he ran just, back when he ran out of the room while you guys were there and made his break for it. Definitely longer strides. Bits in water splashed about. And it'll lead down the street past a few houses, past the blue water inn. You can see Erwin inside, wiping down some of the tables and the counters. And he'll sort of glance out, but you don't really know if he sees you or not. And
as I run by with my hooves clopping, I just wave at him.
Past a few.
You probably can't see me because I'm still obscured in shadows.
But you wave anyway. Past a couple of small general stores, then you'll see the coffin maker's place up ahead. The building has no lights on or any glows or anything from a fireplace going on inside. Outside is several pallets and bits of wood laying about, some tools and odds and ends. You're going to see 3 coffins that have in different stages of being built, leaning up against the side of this place. It's 2 stories tall, has a sign shaped like a coffin above the front door. All the windows and shutters are closed up tight. There's a deathly silence that surrounds the place.
I'm going to go up to one of the windows and peer inside.
They are shuttered from the inside, so you just see the backside of the window panes. As you can kind of make your way around the place, but every window, upstairs and downstairs, are shuttered from the inside. Almost like somebody took boards and basically covered all the windows.
I would actually, since I was following the tracks that led us here, and we kind of knew where we were going, but I still noticed the tracks. I'd like to try to take a look at the tracks around the building. Are there, are there tracks going in and out the side? Are there more tracks than there should be?
You and Victor sort of make your way around and compare what you can see. There's a front door and a back door to this place, both of them being closed and shut up tight. Windows all the way around, upstairs and downstairs. All of those are boarded up from the inside. The only tracks you see, the fresh ones, go in the front door and stop right there. There's other ones around and about the building, but nothing looks fresh.
Just general use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing odd either, just basic boots and shoes.
I believe we may have not been told the whole truth here, gentlemen.
About what? In what way?
Enlighten us, Mud.
What was he doing? What was he doing around the back? Why did he run out?
I ran out too once I saw that awful room. Keep in mind.
I mean, during the question
of
the corpses. Does Wardak still have one of the dolls? Is Wardak actually carrying one of the dolls with him?
Yes, he kept one.
I thought you put like 2 or 3 of them in your backpack, and then you were carrying one to freak.
Yeah, I got like 2 or 3 in my
Sealy.
pack, and I put back the one that I had been carrying.
He couldn't carry the whole life-sized one.
Oh, okay.
Have to come back for that later.
No.
We should bring it to Irina. We made a present. We have a present for you. Our dear friend, we made a doll that looks just like you.
Damn it.
One of the small ones, not the life-size one.
The coffin maker ran out while we were questioning the corpses.
Yep.
The tracks showed him trying to get in through the wine cellar.
Perhaps he's the one who carved the contracts in their skin.
Do we know at what point did he leave our questioning of the spirits?
Well, you knew he was there when you went in and stuff, and then you were speaking with Milovaj through young Victor. As soon as he snapped out of that is when you noticed he was gone. So it was like while you were speaking with Milovaj's soul.
So he was fine before we showed up.
He didn't look like he was, I mean, he was there, but he was quite sweaty, and you could see he was tapping his feet and nervous looking.
So as soon as we asked him,
What if he? Yeah, I was to say, like, what if the certain questions we asked made him too nervous and he ran because of the questions,
that makes
or
me
certain questions?
we need to gain entrance to this place.
The tracks I see around the shop, do I see him going back? Him going back in?
Yep, you would see they lead, the fresh ones lead right up to the front door, and well, sort of kind of on the side of the building, but through the front door.
But I don't see any leaving again.
No.
The bigger question is there a window next to the front door?
There's one on either side of it, technically. But they're boarded from the
Okay.
inside, so it's a little bit harder to smash.
This is Mud we're talking about. I'm just going to look at Mud and just kind of point. I'm like, Mud, there's the window.
Somehow I'm the charismatic one of the group.
I'm good at lying. That's about it.
I'm the face. I'm the face of the group.
I will just go up and bang on the door.
This heavy pounding echoes out through this quiet city. You can hear a few caws in the distance as a couple birds flock out of a tree. In silence, just dead silence. You don't hear anybody moving inside. Nobody comes to the door. Nothing.
I look at the sword on Victor's back. I believe this may be your specialty.
And you say that, and then Victor's going to lift up his nub arm with the shield and be like, okay. And then he's going to try to draw out the great sword one-handed and smash through the door.
Takes a few hacks. You kind of bust off the door handle. The locking part of it was locked if you try it. And, it takes a few hacks, but you're able to pry this door open. You can see that it swings open into a large room filled with coffins. All of them are sort of just thrown about this room. Very musty shaped L, or very musty smelling, and it's L-shaped. Total of 13 coffins are scattered about in this room. Some laying on the floor, some propped up. None of them hang open.
Do they all look like they've been recently built, or?
Yeah, they look fairly fresh. You can still smell the varnish and the pine.
Okay.
For a split second, I forgot we just broke into a coffin maker's shop. So we said 13 coffins. I completely panicked.
Are they open or closed?
All of them are closed, but the hinges are propped open a little bit. It looks like kind of a showroom sort of thing.
I go through and start opening all of them, looking underneath.
Nope, there's... Let's see if there is anything. I don't believe. Yeah, all of them are empty. Beyond that, there's going to be 3 doors in this room down at the southern end of the showroom. All of them are closed as well. You will see, Mud, the tracks lead to, I guess it would be the first door that will be you come to is sort of on the left. Basically, the southern room, there's 3 doors in a row. The tracks lead to the furthest left door, and then there's a middle door, and then one on the right.
I'll head towards that door. I won't open it or bang into it or anything, but about 5 feet away, I'll coffin maker, come out and speak.
Your voice will echo through this room. can hear the creaking of the coffins as Vasily flips through them, checking the last couple. But otherwise, just dead silence.
Silent in here. Too silent.
We're next going to cast Detect Magic. Or Sense Magic, sorry.
What's the range on that?
A sphere within 5-foot radius centered on a point within your space.
5-yard radius.
So
Yeah, 5
basically
yards.
just with you as you walk around. Yeah, everything in this room, nothing comes across as magic. And you go up to the doors and you don't sense anything from any one of the doors or just beyond the doors either.
I don't think there's anything here.
Let's go up. Let's go through that door. There's an upstairs. We need to see what's up there.
Well, I'll point out the prints. Our friend went this way. Start here.
I think we should go as well.
Victor, what do you think?
I'm not sure, but whatever we decide, we should probably do it together and don't split up. Maybe we should follow the tracks.
As soon as Victor says that, I'll open the door.
It is not locked. It'll swing open towards you outward. Into a room. You can see a table in this room. 4 chairs arranged around it. A lantern hangs above it with this sort of barely flickering flame still left in it. There's 2 well-made kitchen cabinets on the opposite side stand against the wall. But nothing else.
What about the tracks?
They lead up to the cabinets.
And are these like tall cabinets or?
Yeah, like armoire type things with doors on the front.
I will follow the tracks to whichever cabinet they lead to.
Come to that. Are you opening it up?
Yep.
Open it up, and as you swing it open, it seems stuck a little bit as you kind of give it a yank. But pop open, and you see the body of this coffin maker slumped down onto the floor. He has a huge gash across his throat and one across each wrist. You'll see the blade falling from his hand, just a simple shaving razor blade, a straight razor that spills out. And the whole thing is just filled with blood inside this cabinet.
Well, that's a dead end.
All right, so I don't actually have any backgrounds on medical or the wilderness in general, clerical, but do I think he did this to himself?
Give me a, I'm going to say wisdom or will. Actually intellect. Give me an intellect check.
Would have been because I'm not.
I'm just say straight up.
6.
Yeah, as far as you can tell, I mean, it makes obvious sense if the razor blade's there and his wrists are cut and his throat is cut. And certainly he must have done it.
I'm gonna look at how much blood is coming. Does it look like he just did it? Or
The
is
blood
the
is
fresh?
It's fresh for sure, yeah, and just still spilling forth. As in, probably happened within the past couple minutes.
So as I step out and Vasily steps in to check the blood, I'm actually going to play to my strengths here. Are there any other tracks in this room? Or any other evidence in this room of somebody else in here besides Fran?
Give me a perception check.
Do I get a boon being a hunter?
Yep, that'll help you.
17.
You do not see any other tracks in this room at all. I mean, you might see a few old ones and stuff from, guests or whatever, but there's nothing recent at all. Nope. You don't see, any signs of a struggle. Everything seems to be in its place.
This man did this to himself. He was guilty of something. He ran away to do this. What was he guilty of, though?
Maybe the other two rooms will give us some indication.
Victor's gonna start going through his like everything that he can basically get his hands on, looking for like a journal kind of deal.
Only thing in here is just books. Well, in the cabinet itself is just books of different woodworking and techniques and tools and diagrams and stuff like that. There's a couple of recipes or recipe books. That's it.
407 ways to make a coffin.
Basically.
I'm going to go out and open the middle door.
What does that lead to? Swings open. You're going to see a workshop that contains everything a carpenter could want to make coffins and furniture. 3 sturdy work tables stretch the length of the wall. And then there's going to be 2 wooden chests underneath this work table.
I'm going to slide them out and try to open them.
Open them up, and it's just filled with various tools, woodworking bits, hammers and stuff like that. One of them is going to have a small pouch in the corner. It has 17 gold and 12 silver in it.
He's not going to need that anymore.
Is this all one floor? Or?
Yep, that's all one floor. And then one other door to the left of the room you're in.
And how much silver?
12.
I mean, unless anybody else steps towards it, Mud will open it up.
The other door simply leads up to a stairwell that leads upwards to the 2nd floor. And at the top of the stairwell where the landing is a door on the left and a door on the right.
Mornak's going to push past Mud and go up the stairway. Then he's going to turn to the door on the right and open it.
As you get up there, you don't sense any magic or anything like that to Mornak. The door hangs open about an inch or so you sort of swing it out. You see it's just a simple kitchen containing a square table in the center surrounded by chairs, and then shelves full of different provisions, water, flour, breads, some cheeses that are sitting on the table. In this room, there's one more doorway it'd be on the western wall that you're in, and that it doesn't have a door on it. It's just an open archway that looks like it leads into a bedroom.
House of doors. Doors upon doors.
That's better than the dolls.
Agree.
Was there any other, that room, that workshop I'm in, was there any other way out of that room?
That room has a back door that would lead out to the backyard.
Oh,
the back
okay.
courtyard, but that's it.
I'm gonna go check it, see if it's locked from the inside.
Yes, it would be. Yeah. Well, the inside has the lock.
Okay.
The chain.
And it's
thingy there.
applied.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll follow Mornak up and just watch as he goes through this room.
It's just the kitchen. Make your way through that. It's in the backside. This other open archway, I guess it would be, leads into a modest bedchamber. Has a cot and several well-made pieces of furniture. Well, they're handmade. A wooden table, handmade. A padded chair. A bookshelf full of more books about coffin making. It seems to be a rather extensive subject indeed. And a wardrobe that hangs. It doesn't have any cabinet doors built onto it yet. It looks like it's in the process of being made, but it has clothes that are hanging there. And then there's a small chest sitting at the foot of the bed.
Mornak's going to go, Vasily, there's clothes up here. Come, you might find something you like.
That's even weird for you, I say from downstairs.
Mornak just starts cackling.
But I reluctantly start heading up the stairs, going up there.
Once Vasily passes by, I'm assuming I'm still on the landing, and heads into the room of Mornak, so I know that there's two people in there. Oh, I'm gonna regret this. I turn around and open the other door and head into the other room.
The other side, you see this very large, drafty room. It looks like it's sort of an attic chamber, whatever, strung with thick cobwebs. Takes up most of the floor, and there's just stacks upon stacks of wooden planks, bits and pieces of wood. There's several crates. All of them are marked junk. You see toolboxes laying about, broken tools, roasted nails, and all sorts of other storage bits, some furniture that's being half made. But the room is quite large. It stretches the length of the house and then turns to the left and around a corner.
Start working my way back, kind of keeping an eye out. Also, still kind of looking to see if I see the heel tracks or any other tracks up in this room.
Back in the bedroom, do you go through anything or do anything else in there?
There was a chest by the bed.
There's the
Yes.
wardrobe and then the chest at the foot of the bed.
I'm going to open the chest.
Mornak's looking at the wardrobe.
Wardrobe itself has just basically all sorts of different clothes, most of it being workers' clothes. You do see one nice outfit, even though it's still sort of shoddy, but it seems to be his one that he would wear for funerals and such. The chest itself has two large sacks. One larger one rattles a little bit when you open up the hinge of this chest. The other one still hangs open. It's much smaller, and you see it's just filled with coins. 30 silver and 12 gold, but they all have the stamped face of Strahd von Zarovich.
Oh.
That's blood gold.
I'm going to lean back farther. I'm going to open the other sack up.
Within, you'll see the shattered remains of bones, leg bones, hips, a skull, all piled up in this dirty burlap sack. Across the side of it, painted in red, you can see Velikai is written.
Sorry, quick question, out of character. Now that you mentioned that the coins with Strahd on them, what have we generally seen in the different towns? Are they Strahd coins or are they something else?
Everywhere else, no. They are simple golden bits or copper bits or whatever. There's no emblazons. Well, some of them have like a B for Barovia or whatever.
All
but
right.
these are the only ones you've ever seen that have actually his stamping.
Okay, well, I still haven't seen anything. Just asking.
So is 30 Strahd coins? Is that
Yep,
what it
30
was?
silver and 12 gold.
Okay, I'm going to keep the Strahd coins separate. 30 Strahd silver.
Are you sure you want to carry that, Vasily? I don't even want to touch it.
I'm kind of morbidly curious about them. Maybe you're wise in saying we shouldn't take them. But I'm fairly certain that these are the bones we're looking for. I'm going to look at them. I'm going to examine them, see how old they look.
They are very old indeed. You can still see bits of dirt clings to them. Some of them are broken or deteriorating a bit over the years. They're old.
Well, there's one way to find
the gold.
Well, hey, I'll hand the coin up to Victor. You can have
We
it.
should take the gold, but not necessarily. Yeah, he's going to grab the bag, but he's going to stay to show as evidence that the coffin maker was guilty of a crime. Because if we just go and say, he did it, we need to show at least some sort of evidence of what we found.
Well, I'm going to open up my grimoire, and I'm going to cast Augur and burn one of my castings of Arcane Shield. And I am going to ask of the cards, are these the bones of Saint Andrel that were removed from the church?
You will. I think there's a good card for this.
I'm running out of first level spells.
Yeah, you will draw the priest
Well,
card.
and it's probably what, like 2-3 o'clock now?
It'd be early morning, yeah. You'll draw the priest card and with an answer of yes.
Let's get back to the inn. We need to talk to our Confederate there. I don't want to turn these back into the church personally, because I think if we turn them back into the church, they'll just get stolen again. We need to find someplace else to secretly bury them in town.
Wait. Where's Irina right now? Isn't she staying at the inn?
Yes.
I don't want to tell
Okay.
her anything.
I think we need to, no, but I think we should keep the bones near her so Strahd couldn't get, or one of Strahd's minions couldn't get their paws on her.
Unless he has human minions.
Well, that is true too.
His own ghoulish human thralls. But yes, it is a good idea to keep these near him. But perhaps our friend at the I have to keep checking my notes. At the Blue Water Inn that gave us this ring of invisibility to use, he might have some suggestions on what we should do with these bones. But I honestly think that we need to bury these somewhere else in town, maybe secretly on the grounds of the church, so that they're still providing their holy protection of the town against the devil, but no one else knows where they're buried at. But that's just a thought.
Well, I'm wondering why the bones being buried at the church gives protection to the entire town. Like, does that actually matter? Or can we say bury it in the backyard of the Blue Water Inn and it still give the same protection? Maybe, someone with a religious background could chime in and let us know.
So, not that I want to give Morgan any ideas here, but as you say that is probably when the three of you realize that I went the other way and I'm in a room by myself turning a corner.
Yeah, you will move through this room. It's basically just piles and piles of junk. You can see bundles of wood that have recently been rough cut, stacked up, and broken tools, crates, all of them say junk painted onto the side of them. Around the back side, the back side has a big bay window that overlooks the front of the house down to the main yard below. There's 6 coffins lined up against one wall. All of them look actually fairly old, and you can see that they weren't made very well, kind of amateurish. And they're laying there. The whole place smells very musty and old. You can see no tracks as you look around in here, at least not the heeled boot tracks or anything like that. The dust on the floor is kicked up a little bit around here, though. And you'll see in front of all 6 of these coffins, it's quite
oh, no.
dusted up a little bit. As you step forward, Mud, you're going to hear this sound, sort of a scraping sound. And then you'll hear the crack as one of the coffin boards on the front splits. And then from all 6 emerge these haggish looking women, all of them completely naked, sagging skin, blood covers their face, their mouth, down their front of them and down their chests. As 6 vampires spawn, crawl out of these coffins towards you, and we will save it there for the evening.
Oh, you dirty, rotten son of a...
I kind of regret
I thought we
reminding
checked
him.
those, though.
I kind of regret reminding that I moved off on my own.
Oh, I remember, don't worry. But just to give you guys a heads up, the room you're in, you'd have to go out that room, back through the kitchen, across the hall, and around back into the room. You guys are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 8, 9, 10.
12 feet, he said. 12 feet.
About 150 feet away. So that's basically 4 moves, just to give you a heads up.
Might be best if you come our way.
Well,
As soon as you guys all
remind me,
talking about,
Morgan say that we would level
Yes, you will level up at
this
the end of
after
this
this
session.
session? Like,
Yep.
So what's that put us at? 5?
Yes,
Oh.
5.
Yeah.
As soon as the three of you started talking about the bones, I went, "Oh shit, I'm by myself."
Yep. So yeah, level up. I think you go back to your original base class as a level 5.
I
Yeah.
believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Any
Or
changes in
no,
there?
is 5 the first time you mastered?
Yeah, it should be your novice class.
Yeah, the expert. I become an expert magician now.
Right. Okay. Oh no. Hold on.